Computer, that would be good. Amazing. So as I mentioned in this the Facebook group, we're going to start a series of topics about food for thought. Now, this is not stuff to make you think, although all of the stuff that we do is stuff to make you think. This is more about stuff for your brain food. And somehow I have a sort of feeling in my mind about fish when I think about that. Like fish food, it's a new type of fish food for your car. But no, this is food that actually the brain feeds on. And I want to go through a few different foods that help you feel more clear, less brain foggy, and just help the brain work more coherently so you can get better thoughts, decisions, and actions, which will help your career, help your social life, and so on. So this is going to be the first of the topics. Today we're going to talk about omega oils. Now, omega, it's probably heard a lot of stuff thrown around about it as sort of something that's very healthy. There are actually three types of omega-3. Well, I say that. There are loads of different oils, different types of oils, and they're called long-chain fatty acids. So imagine a long chain of stuff, and that's what they look like. And a fatty acid that has a particular component, I have to look it up exactly what it is, but a particular component that's near the end of that acid is an omega-369. So the acid that has its component that's the third from the end, that's omega-3, 6 from the end, that's omega-6, 9 from the end, that's omega-9, so on. And that's actually, no, that is right. That is right. So you got your omega-3, 6, and 9 are all essential for the body in different processes. Now, we're going to talk today about omega-3 and 6 because those are the ones we need from outside sources. I'd say from the environment, predominantly from food. You probably could inject yourself with oil. I don't see why you couldn't get it from rubbing oil on your skin. And actually, there's a particular type of oil called what is it? Argan oil, which is often used on the skin, as well as coconut oils, very much used in skin products. Different kind of oil. It's not a omega-3 or 6 oil. But yeah, there's sort of obviously some possibility of getting it from your environment, but mostly omega-3 and 6 are got from food. And you want roughly a 2-to-1 ratio. I say that there. I actually realized later on I've said I aim for a 1-to-1 ratio, but that can be quite tricky in daily life anyway. So I say 2-to-1 ratio is good. Human beings started out with a 1-to-1 ratio. Like that's what we're born with. That's what we had in our original environment. If we think about like what sort of food was originally around, and now it's a lot different, and we'll explain that in a little bit. But basically, all the omega-3, 6, and 9 are all helpful for the brain, and I'll also explain that as we go through the topic. So omega-3, first of all, despite what people say, omega-3 isn't the holy grail. We obviously do need both omega-3 and 6 because the body can't produce it. The body can produce its own omega-9 and also break that down from other sources. So that's why it's considered to be non-essential. But there's omega-3 and 9 we need. The main reason why people determine omega-3 as much more of a holy grail is that it's a lot of people have it a lot less in their bodies. So it's one of those things that we need to look out for. There are 3 types of omega-3s. It's ALA, EPA, and DHA. I won't bore you with what those actually stand for because they're quite long scientific names. Sometimes some of them we can't pronounce. So these are the different types of oil. And depending on which one they are, depends on what they do, but also where they come from. Now, they all help with the cell membrane. Now, if you imagine your body like a beehive, Very simplified way of looking at it. But imagine your body's like a beehive. Inside the beehive is beeswax, and that beeswax is a bit like what your cells are like. So you've got all these little boxes, all the different stuff. Some of them are close together, some of them like in a muscle tissue. You've got them all packed like an actual beehive. Some of them are separated. We've basically got all these cells, what your body's made up of, and the outside of the cells, that be sort of like the edge of each section of that beeswax, that's the cell membrane, and the membrane is supported and built up and restored by these omega-3s, or help the processes help with omega-3s. Omega-3 also help the brain for energy. Now, whereas it's often thought that we need sugar to support the brain, carbohydrates, to some extent that is true. Carbohydrates do help supply the brain, but in the long term, the brain actually runs better on fats. In fact, I've even heard it say that not only does the brain run better on fats, but the fat that's produced by digesting fiber. So your fiber actually can be broken down, some of it can, into energy, into fat cells, and that supplies the brain. That's another story, and I may well go into that in another topic. But the omega-3s definitely do support the brain for energy, and they also build the brain. So the DHA omega-3 acid, all the A is a stand for acid. That's sort of a start for you. DHA is comprises a lot of the brain cells that we have, components of the brain, sperm cells for men, and retina cells, so the part of your eye that helps you see. And we need obviously those for those parts function. And just like a muscle, if it needs to be built or rebuilt, you need protein because that's what the muscle is made out of. Your brain needs these omega-3s because that's what the brain's made out of. If it doesn't have that, then it can't be built. It's like trying to build a house and put no bricks. Your DHA specifically is the bricks that build the house that Jack built, that the brain built. So is what they are. There's other functions in the blood vessels, so the sort of tubes running from your heart to the body, from the heart itself, from the lungs, and also from the hormones, which we obviously talked about in great detail earlier on. What happens when you don't have omega-3? You don't have enough omega-3. Well, you've got two problems that can arise: deficiency and imbalance. I'm going to talk about deficiency here, and we'll talk about balance when we look at omega-6. So if you don't have enough omega-3 full stop, then your skin is just a bit, your skin suffers. So I think we mentioned that omega-3 has a benefit for the skin. So you get scaly skin, the oils that make your skin soft, that's sort of supported by the omega-3 oils. You get rashes in your skin because your skin's too dry. For the brain, it can lead to things like brain fog. So if you feel brain tired, like you can't function, can't focus, it could be a number of things. It could be a lack of water. It could be a lack of energy full stop, so carbohydrate and fat to the brain. It could be a lack of protein, which helps the brain function. It could be a lack of omega-3 specifically. So we want to be able to avoid that brain fog so you can perform your work, your business, exercise, social situations, and not be a vegetable. So very important that we don't get too deficient, otherwise your brain can't function. And obviously it needs to be built out of these oils, so your brain literally can't be rebuilt, and that's where brain disease can come from, or some kind of brain degeneration, things like Alzheimer's. Some heart disease can be sort of increased, or the likelihood can be increased by lack of omega-3s. It may have effect on joints as well. So things like arthritis, osteoporosis could be enhanced. I say could be because they've done some studies which have shown some evidence. They don't have enough studies scientifically to fully support that. So there's still something they're researching, still something they're trying to get conclusive, irrefutable evidence on. But there is some evidence to support that these things may be reduced, as well as certain cancers. So if you have more of it, less likely to get certain cancers. If you have less of it, then you might be more likely. But again, they still need more studies for that. Well, that's obviously why we need to keep it up. But where do we get it from? So ALA, which is one of the most abundant, particularly in a Western diet, often comes from plant sources. Now, anyone who cooks and anyone who cooks using your everyday items probably uses some kind of vegetable oil. Now, both vegetable oils are listed there. So typical vegetable oils in supermarkets are either soybean oil or canola, which is also called rapeseed oil. And these have a good source of ALA. Typically, you want cold pressed unrefined rapeseed oil as the best source of omega-3 and also highest source. And there's a guy I know called Tim Fussell who runs Fussell Fine Foods, I think. And they do a very good source of rapeseed oil. It's sort of on the level of your high quality extra virgin olive oils.
I think it's Sainsbury's he sells it in.
It sells in Sainsbury's, sells at a lot of fancy stores like Selfridges and Waitrose, I think. And so you can go out and find it. There are other forms of cold pressed rapeseed oil. In fact, you can find own brand cold pressed rapeseed oil now, but generally the ones that are cheap, so like £1.50 for a litre, they tend to be the hot press. If you want to get your best quality, go for that. If you want to go for really high quality, flaxseed or linseed is incredibly dense. However, I think last time I looked, it was £20 a litre, so it's quite expensive. Definitely don't want to cook with it. The sort of best way is to just use it as a cold flavoring, like could be a dressing or salad. It could be just a lubricant for food and so on. I quite like it at night. They say the best time to eat your omega-3s is actually at night, where the brain restores itself. So if you have I don't know, some rice cakes, you might drizzle some flaxseed oil on it. So that's sort of a plant source of it. Also,
linseed's also very good for the clarinet.
Oh really? I did not know.
When I played the clarinet, I used to rub linseed oil into it.
I did used to rub oil on my trombone, but I did not know what kind of oil it was. But I didn't know that. Well, there you go. Other uses of linseed. Just try to use it all, because you do need to eat some. You can get it from food sources as well, like solid foods, so walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds. These are all high. I've looked at packaging, and flax seeds have about 4 times as much as chia seeds, but it's worth getting different sources, as I mentioned at the end. So do be aware of getting both of those. ALA can be converted into EHA and DHA. Or is it DHA? Yeah, I think so. No, EPA and DHA. That's right. I knew there was a typo there. But only in very, very small amounts. Not enough that we actually need, especially considering that DHA is the component of the brain and the eyes. So we want to get it from more sources. Now, people generally say eat your fish for good brain oil, omega-3. Here's a benefit or some good news for vegetarians. And this is food for thought in the other definition, is where do you think the fish and the seafood get their omega-3 from? And the answer is algae. So if you're a fish eater, then obviously the most cost-effective and perhaps abundant source of omega-3 is going to be from fish and seafood. But if you're not, you don't eat fish, you're vegetarian or vegan, then algae is where you can get DHA and EPA. I'm going to look that up now, so I want to share with you the actual source of algae. Omega-3, here we go. Cool, because there are specifically ones. Okay. No. Okay, does it continue? Fish sources, shrimp, trout. Here we go. Okay, so it doesn't seem to specify the exact seaweeds that, or algae that that have it in, but some examples of seaweed. Samphire is a type of seaweed. What's the Japanese one that's not nori? I'm trying to think. There's nori, which goes on sushi. So if you eat a massive amount of sushi, that's good for your omega-3s. You can also buy like crispy fried salted seaweed from Korean shops. Really nice snack and really good low-calorie snack as well. So if you want to have something moreish without putting on the pounds, then that's good. A good one to have. What am I thinking of? Kombu, possibly. Type of seaweed they use to flavor stuff in Japanese food, like stock sort of thing. Spirulina and chlorella are perhaps now more well-known Amazonian algae, which have loads of health benefits, but include the omega-3s. You can find them in drinks, you can find them in tablet forms. Do not chew chlorella or spirulina tablets because you look like a monster. They stain your tongue and teeth, and I've found that out the hard way with some very interested friends once you smile. But yeah, so you want to find, if you want to look at those sources, the spirulina and algae you can put in smoothies, smoothie bowls, milkshakes, protein. Generally added to stuff. I probably wouldn't eat it on its own. It's also a bit more expensive than just like, I don't know, like nuts or seeds. But worth it. And if you are getting your omega-3s from vegetarian sources, you do need a source of algae there, because the ALA from plants are zero plant sources. The ALA from nuts and seeds and their oils won't be enough just for your omega-3 balance. It's good, obviously you want that, but make sure you get some form of algae in there as well. Now, we look at omega-6. Now, there's only one type of omega-6, about 12 maybe, types of omega-6 acids that you can get, and then there's only one that the body can't produce. So, or can't produce from other foods. So we want to focus on this one, which is linoleic acid. Now, linoleic acid may help prevent cardiovascular disease, which is basically things to do with the heart and lungs. May prevent heart attack, and stroke. Again, we do need more studies for these, so it's something to be aware of, but not to go out preaching to people that this is definitely going to happen. Now, generally, omega-6 isn't so much a problem for people to intake. It's in lots of foods. The essential omega-6 is in a lot of plant foods. The non-essential stuff is in both plant and animal foods. The problem we more have at the moment is that there's too much of our food to have omega-6, and then if you're not having that much omega-3, then it can cause more of a problem. So there's two sort of problems there. There's deficiency and imbalance. You're less likely to get a deficiency because a lot of the sources of vegetable sources of linoleic acid, the stuff we have anyway, are basically every vegetable oil. And all the non-essential ones, most people who follow a meat-based diet, they have an abundant source in there, but there's also a lot of plant sources that are high in the non-essential ones as well. So very few people, if they eat food, which most people do, have a deficiency of omega-6, unless you want like a super low-fat diet, which used to be the fad sort of around 80s, 90s, and so on. Unless you're following a super low-fat diet, then it's unlikely you'll have some. If you have some source of fat, there's a good chance you're going to have some omega-6 in there. However, the problem is that people don't have enough omega-3 compared to omega-6, so it's more likely that you have a higher ratio. Now, ratios, sort of, doctors recommend that you want a ratio of less than 4:1, so four times the omega-6 to omega-3. People in the West typically have anywhere between 10:1 to 30:1, so not nearly as much omega-3 as omega-6. If you have this higher ratio, it means you could be more prone to arthritis, or rather, having a lower ratio will help with arthritis, as it can do with asthma and some cancer. Again, more studies needed, but they're starting to get evidence in there. And again, they're starting to get some evidence in the effect on medication. So some particularly mental health medications can be affected by omega-6 ratio. So if the ratio is too high, then it reduces their effect. But also significantly, if you don't have the a very strong balance of omega-3 or 6, it makes it even more likely to not have enough omega-3, because the benefits of the omega-3, like the joints, the hair, the brain, are reduced by that over potent amount of omega-6. It's important to know if you can swap some omega-6 sources to omega-3, then that's good. And then just bump up the omega-3. The chances are that will help. I wouldn't get too anal and try and reduce omega-6 sources, because there's in a lot of foods. But if you can just swap some foods that make your food more dominant omega-3, you'll probably end up having less of those omega-6 foods anyway. So omega-6 is found in pretty much every vegetable oil, the linoleic acid, so things like sunflower oil, canola oil, walnut oil, sesame oil, peanut oil, you name it, any kind of vegetable oil. And it is a little tip. And it's not something to do religiously. Obviously, you want a bit of both. But if you can swap some of your sunflower oil, which is a vegetable oil, for rapeseed oil, that will give you more omega-3 to 6. It helps balance out that ratio. If you can use less butter and more canola oil, for example, or soybean oil, then again, slightly better. So think about that in terms of swapping out some sources, and your nuts and seeds as well. So if you can focus more on the chia seeds and flax seeds than the sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, and so on, and your walnuts compared to other nuts, then that's likely to bump up your ratio. Again, don't get anal about it, but if you can have more omega-3s compared to 6s, chances are it will help improve your ratio. Now, there are some ways that you can test omega-3. In fact, one of my friends, or in fact a mutual friend for Nicola and I, named Mukesh Sabani, works with a company who helps test omega-3 and 6. So if you are really concerned, then obviously you can get a test and find out where you are. Generally, I would say at this stage, just getting more omega-3s compared to 6s is probably a good idea. It's very unlikely you're better than 1:1 ratio. So unless you want to be really sure, you've got a bit of spare cash, and you want to put that in, then by all means do. And please do contact me if you want to find out information about that test. I can put some information in the box. The Swedish company, I'm not sure the exact name, but it is out there. Now, that actually reminded me of one thing that is important with omega-3, and this is particularly when it comes to supplementation. So talking about animal food sources, and obviously with whatever I tell you, always recommend you get your stuff from food. Focus on food first, and then if having this sort of particular nutrient, it will be like stupid or in like irrational to just get it from food. The example I always use is creatine. Now, creatine is a non-essential amino acid. It's something that we produce in the body, type of protein, but bodybuilders use it to help their performance. Now, creatine is found quite highly in beef. However, you would probably have to eat a whole cow to have the amount of creatine you'd need to have an effect on your performance in a weightlifting session. So there are some times where having that little bit extra from supplementation is good. Also, a little bit of a fail-safe. So you might have extra omega-3 from a supplement just to help bump that up because you find it hard to get it from your food sources. That's okay, but the main thing to be aware is that just like vitamin D that we need for our, just like calcium that we need for our bones is important, and we need that from our food sources, that requires vitamin D to be digested. Similarly, omega-3 needs something called polyphenols in order to be digested as well. Now, the good news is that if you have your omega-3 from a plant source, that will have polyphenols with it. The plant contains that. It is sort of nature's designed in a perfect way, so it's kind of like you've got the salad and it's got a fork that already comes in it. Happy days. But if you have a supplement, particularly fish oil supplement, and if you have or if you just have your omega-3 based around fish, you may be missing those polyphenols. So there's this company, this is what made me think of it, the company that my friend is working with, they have a source of polyphenol in their supplements. If you do take omega-3 supplements, make sure it has a polyphenol source in there. But if you're having it from a plant source, then chances are you're going to have that built into that plant anyway, particularly if you have that plant raw. If you're having ground flax seeds, or you're having sprinkled like drizzled oil on a salad or something, then, and it's all cold, then the polyphenols are all going to be intact. I'm not sure 100% if polyphenols are killed by heat. I know some nutrients like enzymes and vitamins are killed by heat, so you obviously don't want to cook them. But there's, in general, a lot of the goodness with a plant can be killed by heat. So if in doubt, just have it raw and you'll be fine. That's about it in terms of omega oils. Main takeaway from this is obviously you need both. Keeping an eye on omega-6s isn't as much of a problem because most people who aren't on a low-fat diet have enough. I would say if you are on a very low-fat diet, trying to get some kind of, maybe either a tablespoon of these oils per day or a supplement is very good. You want to go for as much a 1-to-1 ratio as possible. And just by starting to increase your omega-3 ratio now, you're probably going to be working towards that, and it's probably going to be a good thing. It's unlikely that you're either there already or you're better than that, unless you had like no non-omega-3 plant oils. You didn't eat any meat, you didn't eat any nuts or seeds, and except for the omega-3 ones, it will be unlikely that you'd have more omega-3 to omega-6. So you might as well just start increasing it now. Obviously, you can test that if you want to.
I'm just looking at that comment on there on point 3. I'm thinking, what on earth does that mean?
Oh, yes. Consume looking at this. It was obviously a brain fog moment. So, need some more omega-3s. Yeah, so if you have meat and fish in your diet, then try and get a variety of plant and fish-based sources. If you have a a vegetarian or vegan diet, then have a variety of plant-based sources. So what I did is I went to Tesco supermarket and I got a pack of chia seeds and a packet of flax seeds. Now the growth-minded person in me and the sort of the competitive person in me was thinking, if flax seeds have 4 times as much omega-3, I should just eat flax seeds. However, you're probably better off just having varied food rather than just getting the best. So have a bit of flaxseed, have a bit of walnuts, have a bit of chia seeds, have a bit of rapeseed oil, and have a bit of algae. And this is going to, or fish if you want to.
Lidl's do these really nice packets. They've got ones that's like mixed chia seeds. They've got ones that are
that's cool.
Hemp, linseed, and chia.
I have a feeling hemp might be another source of omega-3. I'd have to look that up, but I have a feeling that.
Speak to Max Maddy, and he might know.
Yeah, that's true. He's very knowledgeable about cannabidium oil, whatever they call it, hemp oil. So yeah, that may be something that you can look at as well. But if you can vary that as much as you can, and one day you have a dressing of rapeseed, and then another day you have a dressing of flaxseed, and then you have a dressing of soybean, so on, then it can do your body some good. Your body likes variety. That's more or less all I wanted to say there. There won't be a meditation this time because it's not relevant. I would like to do a meditation at the end of this brain food topic, which will be in 2 or 3 sessions time, just to really feel the effects of a healthy brain chemistry. But for now, I just want to open up the floor to any questions. It can be about this topic. It can be about other topics. Far away.
So you've talked about certain foods like the seeds and that. Are there kind of other general foods? I mean, things like at the moment I've got paneer. I've got access to tuna and mackerel and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What other are there any kind of vegetables that I can find? Like avocados, that's fats, isn't it? Is that kind of?
So I've listed the sources, the main sources.
You have, okay.
In general, if you're a animal or fish eater, if that fish eats one of those plant sources, it's going to have some source of omega, whatever it is you're looking for.
Right.
Now, this is why they say eat fish and seafood rather than eat animals, because animals generally don't eat seaweed and algae. They don't really have access to it. You might have some frogs that eat algae. I don't know. But generally, the animals don't eat the sources of omega-3 that we need. We'll go back to that. Here we go. So if you have stuff that eats this thing, these plant sources, then obviously that will have it in it. And obviously if you eat the plant source itself, then that will have it in it as well. So this will be my recommendation is to look towards those sources, get them while you can. The cheapest sources of ALA, if you're looking for budget, will be soybean and canola oil. Definitely do go for unrefined, non-GMO soybean oil, because that can mess you up if it's GMO. It tends to be the GMO stuff that upsets female hormones,
right?
So estrogen levels. And if you have non-processed stuff, then it's a bit better for you. And then obviously your rapeseed and your flaxseed is good as well. If you want a high quality source or a high dense source, then I would say go for flaxseed and or copper rapeseed. Get some walnuts, flaxseeds and chia seeds. I mean, people say that that stuff's gonna be expensive. Flax seeds are cheaper than nuts to buy per kilo. Same as chia seeds.
Well, I did hear somewhere that you had to soak the chias because otherwise they go straight through you.
Chia seeds you have to soak or grind. Flax seeds you have to grind because the shell is too tough for your body to break down. Now, if you go to, I suppose, an online retailer, someone like if Robert Dyson are online, which they might be, they're quite a good source, and buy a cheap coffee grinder, then that will grind up your flax seeds nice and small.
Yeah, they've got like actually Robert Dyson Dyers have got little nut grinders, which I bought one actually.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's small. It's able to break through that shell. Pestle and mortar won't be strong enough.
Yeah.
Most food processors aren't strong enough. It needs to be something really high powered, and it might get stuck in a blender. So I'd say a spice grinder or a nut grinder if you want.
Well, this is a small one, so it's presumably a nut grinder.
Yeah, I mean, look at the sort of the effect, the content of your of what happens when you grind it. If it's a powder, then it's worked. If it's still got bits of whole flaxseed in there, then it probably hasn't worked. So just check, see where you are. Pretty much all spice grinders and coffee grinders will do it. But if you're using something I know less about, then just see whether it does have that effect, and then you can get that. But I would say, in terms of the things that might stop people from getting a good quality plant source, would typically be cost and availability. Flax seeds aren't that expensive; it's like less than £10 a kilo. Same with chia seeds. Obviously, soybean oil is really cheap. Rapeseed oil, even the cold press stuff, isn't that expensive. Availability, you can get a lot of stuff online. I bought my flax seeds from eBay.
All right.
You can get them from other places. I think there's a company called, what are they called? Vitamin C, vitamin C. It's up on the tip of my tongue. It will come to me. There's a company that I used to get my vitamin C from that do, I'll look on eBay while we speak, that do nuts and seeds. So I recommend them. But a lot of stuff you can find online these days and can be better deals and more available than other stuff. So that's what I would recommend.
Okay.
Does that help with what you were asking?
Yeah. It's getting it online, I suppose, would be better because it's difficult
Classical
to get stuff at the moment.
So the classical is CLASSIKOOL.
Okay.
They sell herbs, seeds, spices, and supplements. I actually bought a sunflower and pumpkin from there, so I'm not sure whether they definitely do flaxseed. The one I got, no, that's wrong. Oh, here we go. It was Polish, and it was from Healthy Planet for You. Healthy-Planet for You. They were like the producer of this. No, For Us is so US, and it's number 4. They were the ones I got the flaxseed from. I thought it was very reasonable. $8.60 a kilo. So if you think that walnuts are about £20 a kilo, peanuts, anything from like.
Is it specifically just walnuts, or can you use other nuts as well? Because I'm not a big fan of nuts.
Walnuts just for ALA, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Obviously, nuts have other healthy oils in, but walnuts are the ones with the omega-3. And obviously, rapeseed, if you could find it. I've never seen anyone sell rapeseed. That would have it in. Soybeans themselves would have it in. Tofu probably has ALA. I'm not sure whether the ALA is killed by heat. Obviously, tofu's cooked, so
Yes.
something to look up. And if you want to play it safe, just have stuff that's cold and uncooked. Is that helpful?
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Is there anything else you want to ask about omega sources?
No, not that I can think of.
If you can find like skin products that have omega-3, and that's supposed to be quite healthy as well. But even just eating omega-3 will help your skin. If you ever do have skin rashes or you have a skin condition like eczema, then it can have an effect on that. And hair as well, hair and nails. So all these kind of things, which needs oil. I would actually be very interested to see whether if you improved your omega-3 levels, your asthma will get better. I won't say it definitely will, but I'll be curious whether it will.
It'd be interesting to see if it could improve my nails, because they split really badly.
Yeah, I hear you. And nails have two things that you need. There's omega-3s and there's keratin, which is a type of protein. See if I can find what is high in keratin. If you ever want to find a food that's high in something, you go to nutrition data, the word nutrition and the word data. .self.com, one of my favorite research sites. They have a tool there which is foods highest in blah blah blah, and you can literally type in any fat, any protein like amino acids, any vitamin, any mineral, and it will find you the foods that are highest in that. It's quite useful if you want to get some sources. Some of them a bit obscure, like if you type in foods highest in vitamin B, it will give Marmite at the top. You're not going to have enough Marmite to actually give you a lot of vitamin B. Like a jar of Marmite has a week's worth of vitamin B, but a month's worth of salt in it.
Oh,
so
right.
There are good size and bad size to it. Anyway, foods highest in keratin. Okay, whey protein, red meat, blueberries, almonds, beer. And you benefit from beer. Oysters.
So if it's beer, it's hops, isn't it? Probably.
What's that? Yeah, I guess so. Blueberries, almonds, beer, oysters, milk, which is probably why whey protein is higher in it, eggs, salmon, and Brazil nuts. So plant sources, we're looking at Brazil nuts, beer, blueberries, almonds, and then the animal products, salmon, eggs, milk, and red meat. There we go. So if you want foods high in keratin for your hair and nails, then you can look at those along with your omega-3s. Helpful?
Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything you wanted to ask me on topic or off topic?
Well, we talked at the beginning before we started the recording about the yoga.
Yes, yeah. So with the yoga, don't be afraid to take a break if you need a break. Like there's constructive behavior and there's deconstructive behavior.
Yeah.
And obviously you're towing a line between getting out of your comfort zone, which is going to help give you good stuff in your life and growth and stuff, and wiping yourself out. And you don't want to get so addicted to being uncomfortable because it's good for growth that it wipes you out and it's unsustainable. So a bit like saying I need to do sums that are challenging in maths, and you're like a 12-year-old, and then you end up doing university mathematics. Okay, it's challenging, but it doesn't mean that it's at the right level. So listen to your body at the end of the day. I'd say test first. So if your body's saying this is too hard, see if you can push it a little bit further just to see whether it's your comfort zone that's screaming. And if it's not and it still feels hard and it rationally feels hard, then
I sent you the link for the program that I was following.
I have heard that guided yoga, I've seen a lot of ads for it. But yeah, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
I sent you so there's four in this particular the beginner's yoga. There's 4 programs, and I was looking at the first one, and I got to about 12 minutes in, and there's an exercise where you do kind of like the downward dog type thing, but you've got your leg up in the air and you bend your leg over and you twirl your foot. And I stopped just before that exercise.
Right.
And then I sat and watched it because I thought, okay, I've done enough for the moment, just to kind of
Yeah.
dip my toe in the water.
Good. And then you can, next time you can progress it a bit further.
Well, that's what I was thinking. If I try and work through this first episode first, taking it easy and seeing how it goes, and then do the other 4 episodes.
Sounds good. Sounds like a good target, a good structured progression. And then if you can find something that is more than just exercise, so it's an activity you generally want to do, then you're more likely to keep it up than if you say, I have to exercise today. Like having a motivation, a purpose, is the strongest driver to doing something. Now, in the past, your motivation for exercise was an essential need. You need to be out of pain and you need to be able to function normally. Now they're more luxury-based things. So I want to be good at Viking stuff. And okay, so in some sense, the weight, like there is more of an essential need to that, but it's something you could ignore. So it's slightly harder to be motivated by those things. You can be motivated by other things, like I really like this. This is something that I want to do in and of itself. So if you find like those yoga classes where it's it encourages you in and of itself beyond just the fact that it's exercise, then that's a win.
It felt quite relaxing because I was kind of sat there kind of doing it and just kind of not striving, shall we say, because when you're doing the exercise, you're striving, aren't you?
Yeah.
Whereas this was kind of quite...
This sounds like a good balance to me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It was quite kind of gentle, which was nice in some respects. So yeah, I did enjoy it. Excuse me. I did enjoy it. I couldn't put my feet when I was doing downward dog. I couldn't put my feet fully on the floor. I could only put the balls of my feet on the floor.
That will come. That's all down to ankle mobility and to some extent back of the thigh mobility.
Okay. And also she does this where you're lying on the floor and you're pushing your chest up. And of course, obviously, I'm still working on that because there's that exercise you gave me, that kind of the pigeon stretch, and then the where you lean backwards. I'm doing that now in the mornings.
Good. Yeah, really focus on those pigeons because that's going to help the hip tightness and discomfort that you've had.
Yeah.
Which, whether prominent or not, will still help long term.
I was able to do the the one you did the other day in that class, where you're lying on the floor and you're twisting your leg over and you're pulling your leg in and out, forward and back.
Yes, I think so.
Where I was kicking towards the camera.
Yeah, I remember.
I was able to lie flat on the floor with my bad hip flat on the floor, which I haven't been able to do before.
Nice. That's really good.
Good. And
it shows that not only is your body changing, but it's a testament to you doing the work.
Yeah. And yeah, this morning I was able to do, I did a headstand and I was able to hold it for, I won't say a second, but kind of like half a second or something, with one leg up in the air.
Nice.
And I was away from the wall a little bit as well. So, I mean, yes, I was leaning against the wall, but it was kind of up, if that makes any sense. And when I did the legs on the floor stretch, when I'm bending over, I got my head about an inch from my knee.
That's really good. It's really good.
And then I went out with Izzy yesterday, and we had a socially distanced coffee break in the park with cups of tea and stuff. And I was sat on the grass, cross-legged, and then obviously legs out, and we're about an hour and a half.
Nice. How do you feel about that progress?
It's great because yes, it was still a little bit uncomfortable because you're sitting on the grass, but I had to do that properly for over a year, And now when I sit on the sofa, cross-legged, and I can actually sit up. And say I'm reaching for a cup on the table, I don't bother to uncross my legs. I just lean forward and grab it that way, so I can do it quite easily now.
Great. How does that feel to you about the relationship between the work you're doing and what you're able to do.
Well, it's fun because it's coming back to normal again.
Yeah.
Because this is how I used to be. You know, obviously more flexible in some respects. I was, you know, but still we're getting there. And
Does it make you more or less motivated to keep doing those exercises?
well, more obviously because I want to do more because whilst I'm coming back to quote normal,
yeah,
I'm seeing all these images in my head, not just of obviously different fighting things. I'm seeing this image of this person kind of doing a flying drop kick. Not that necessarily being me, but that's what I'm kind of, you know, spinning drop kick.
I hear you, yeah. Or is it sort of when you get one potential and one ability, then it opens up new abilities.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that that's necessarily what I want to do or I'm expecting to do, but it's kind of what's in my head at this minute.
Right.
And that's what I keep seeing.
Keep thinking back to this, because if it gets to a week where you're like, I don't feel like exercising today, or I've only done 3 and it's day 5 already, then it's going to be more encouragement to keep up that streak.
Yeah.
Because you can feel tangibly the benefits of doing that. Like your weight. I mean, I was constantly telling people the reason why you lost weight so quickly is because you did the work. You did a lot of stuff. So
I have gone up a little bit. I was 68 this morning, which I'm really kind of pissed off at. I have moved.
What tangible actions can you take?
Well, I was talking to Gareth about this the other day, and I've moved the exercise cycle, into the front room as well, so that I can, because a lot of this is because I'm not going out that much. Right. I think. So if I can at least, if I am watching telly, at least I can be cycling some of that time.
Yeah, massively. And you might even use that as a speed up for your exercises. So let's say, for example, you have your Gaia programs in the morning.
Yes.
You might do a bit of biking while you're watching that Gaia program, and then suddenly you're already warm for your exercise. So
yes.
You sort of save a bit of time there. I think that's a great idea.
I wasn't sure whether that would wear me out, so I haven't tried that yet, but I didn't want to get.
See how you go. You do like 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and so on.
Yeah, and then I've also talked to Izzy yesterday about push cycle.
Yeah.
We can get up now that we're kind of supposedly allowed out more.
Yeah.
We could both cycle to the park because she lives near the park anyway, but I could cycle to hers, and then we can go to the park, or we could go somewhere else together.
Yeah, why not? Just come up with loads of excuses and reasons to do more exercise.
Well, this is it. So, yeah, all positive, really. And today was the 3rd day of exercise. I know you think I was trying to give up. No, I wasn't trying to give up. I just wasn't.
Just bear in mind that voice will always be there, and it may not be the most dominant voice, but there will always be a voice saying, "Oh, you can skip your exercise today. Oh, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to do that. Or you deserve a break. You can get away with it." But then there's a part of that voice that sometimes is saying rational things and truth. There's a part of that that's also trying to stay comfortable. So just be wary of that and think, okay, is it logical and rational for me to do this, or is it less logical? You can go from there.
I mean, what I like, I've told you this before, but it is more so now. I sit there with moving my body around. I don't know, how can I explain it?
I know what you mean. It's easier to flow and to just be a mover.
Kind of playing with my muscles. I kind of flex all my muscles all the time, and I kind of move it all around, and it just feels so great because I was so static before, you know. To be able to do this again is amazing. I've also gone up to the red band on the, you know, the sword pull, the wrap around the body. Yeah. Not the pull up from the ground one, but the horizontal one. I've gone up to the red band.
Great, that's really good. I'm really pleased with that. And it shows you are obviously making progress and doing stuff.
Obviously, I was doing the green one. I was thinking this is too easy, this is boring, so I went up today on that one. I can't do it on the up from the ground one. I'm still on the yellow on that. It's quite hard.
It will come. and just
What I
keep
do
doing it
find
until it's easy.
with the dumbbell waggle,
Yeah,
the right arm particularly, is bent a little bit.
yeah.
I can hold it straight out, but I can't at the moment kind of pull it so horizontally straight and waggle it at the same time.
Again, that will come. Just be patient with it and just
Right.
keep doing it until it gets easy, and then you'll be able to straighten it before you know it.
Okay.
I've got a couple of actions for you to take away from here, and that is to have some form of diary, or maybe your actual diary, like a paper calendar diary. And I want you to rate your quality of eating, so your diet, and the level of exercise you've done in a day, which is both the structured exercises you've done and the replacement for what would be walking. So whether it's biking in the house, biking out the house, and then use those so you can just keep mindful about your diet progress, because the biggest thing that can hold us back when we don't get results we want to, or we get results we don't want to, is that we're not aware of it. So if you can rate, and it's just a number or two numbers every day, so all you have to do, don't attach anything to it. You have to think about it or analyze it. Just put down that number, just like doing an MOT, but imagine you do it every day. And just say to yourself, am I doing the actions of someone who's losing weight? Am I doing the eating the foods of someone who's losing weight? And then you'll be aware. How does that sound?
Yeah, I have to go out and get a paper diary. I haven't got a paper diary.
Don't be silly. You don't have to put effort into it. You could do it on your phone. You could do it on your computer. You could just have a piece of paper and say Wednesday 9/8, Thursday 7/8, Friday 10/10, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or a number like 16th, 17th. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. The less effort you can put into it, the easier it'll be to do.
Yeah.
The more effort, the more obstacles your brain's got. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. How do you feel about the week ahead?
Quite good actually.
Excited?
Sorry, say that again.
Inspired, excited, hopeful?
Yeah, because I've been working on a Canva course, but I've changed track and I'm going to do a Canva workshop instead.
Nice.
Which is why I was asking about the 1-to-1. Sorry, not 1-to-1. 10 to 8.
Yeah.
So is the fact that you've got a payment option on there for people to book classes and stuff? Yeah. Is that extra, or is that part of the free offer?
Oh no, it's part of the free stuff. So the free stuff gives you that option, and it gives you 100 appointments a month. And the paid option, as far as I'm aware, gives you more than 100, so you're unlimited amount of appointments and other fancy stuff which I haven't either needed or been aware of,
Right,
which I'm sure has use for some people, but as far as I'm aware, there's nothing really I'm missing from the free option.
Okay. And do you know those you send out email and text messages?
Yeah.
Are they automatic?
They're automatic, and you'll need the person's details in order to do that.
Right, okay.
They book in themselves, and obviously you'll get that. If you book them, then you'll need their details. You just check a box when you book them in to send out that confirmation. I think it does both by like automatically for reminders, so it always reminds you the day before.
Yeah.
But to get a confirmation, then sometimes you have to tick the text button if you want to text them as well as email them.
Right, okay.
You can find all that in the account.
Yeah.
Very straightforward. Helpful?
I'm just looking at options, you see, so.
Good. Yeah, I think it's a really good option to have. If you do ever want to link it up to a payment processor, I use Stripe.
Oh, yes.
As a card processor. There are other ones that you can use as well.
Stripe takes about 7 days for the payment to come through, though, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So I've used that elsewhere.
Yeah. Cool. Well, if there's nothing else that you need to ask me, then I wish you a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
You can find me in the void. You can also find me in the real world. We often say that in my meditation group. I will see you in the void.
Void, yeah.
Technically, you won't see me, you will feel me. But that does sound weird. Yeah, but in this tangible 3D world, then you'll see me via phone and text. So,
Yeah.
and actually, something I was going to mention is if I ever am slower to reply to a text or WhatsApp, because I generally check them just a few times a day, just give me a call and I'm there.
Okay.
Cool, awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will speak to you very soon.
All right. Take care. Cheers.
Bye-bye.